Ah, I like this music. Turn that up for a second, Eric. Yeah. I don't know. It kind of feels like it's 1978 all over again. It has that nice vibe. Okay. That's enough happiness, Eric. My gosh, what are you trying to do? Make this a happy Wednesday?
Happy Wednesday.
Look, folks, I go back. I just got to let you know that I go back to the shows and I listen to them. And I do understand that we're in dark times, but we got to have a little bit of happiness. And today, folks, we're going to try to share a little bit of that with you. But we got more on Dan Hood, who was here yesterday. We're going to point you to the website and some big articles we have. Biden is confused. Are you kidding me? There's no way that he is confused. But why are they telling you that, though? Why would the mainstream media tell you that Biden is confused? And, of course, California, folks, wants you to drink your toilet water. Sorry. We're going to talk about that and a little bit more today. We'll see you soon. Don't miss this show. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show, folks. Craig Bouchon here. It's Wednesday. What is the date today? Today is the 7/12/2023. Oh, there's a lot going on, folks. There's a lot of bad news out there, I promise you, and there's a lot. But there's also good news. There's good things happening. We're going to talk about that as well. We're going to sprinkle some of that in. We might hit you with a little bit, I don't know, a little bit of God. I hope that doesn't make some of you click away, because we're going to talk about how God is important as well. And maybe today also, of course, not maybe, we will do a letter to Trump. Oh, it's riveting reading. It's so good. Oh, hey, before we get going, Eric Thompson, the producer extraordinaire, how are you, sir?
Doing well, thank you. Got my coffee, not Starbucks, and I'm rocking and rolling.
Whoa, good for you.
I'm a 2 months recovering Starbucks drinker.
Well, I'm glad that you have joined the fight. Hey, coffee's a big deal, and if you don't start the day without your coffee, hey, this is an Ember cup. It's glowing red right now. This is not a sponsorship from Ember, by the way. They're not. But I'm just telling you that I have an Ember, and it's telling me that my coffee, now that this is red, means that the battery is now wearing down, because this will keep your coffee warm for a good hour and a half, and I can pick the temperature that I want. It's awesome, because right now when I take a sip, that is not 138 degrees, and now I don't like the taste of it. It's probably 125, and that is yucky. So we had a big show yesterday, folks. If you missed the show yesterday, please go back and watch it. We've even broken it up into segments, so you can buy segment, so you can pick the one you want to see. First, yesterday we had Dan Hood on, out of the United Kingdom, former Special Forces guy. He is an avid, let's say, he studies the rise and fall, folks, of societies, okay? And everything, every society that there is, whether it's Rome, there's a lot of connections, folks, to Rome in the United States of America. There just is. And then what's going on currently in Europe. But he said something interesting today that I want you to know, because remember, the responsibility, when you look back at the globe behind me, or the map, the Flat Earth Society coverage right there, I have American on there because go to American, go to americaican.com and check out what we're doing there. But the point of this show is to empower the American citizen to do the job that they're supposed to do, that they are endowed by their creator to do, why they've been gifted the United States of America, and why we've defended that gift for decades now, why our founders gave us a representative republic, why we have a separation of powers, why we are the leader in the world so fast. We don't want to be a comet, folks. We don't want to be an asteroid, okay? We want to be a planet, okay? We want to be this powerful orb traveling through this solar system of yuck that just goes out and defends people from tyrannical leaders, period. And it is in God we trust. But so back to Dan Hood. Very, very important. I think we have it pulled up, Eric. You know, I want you to hear what he said. And this is a very proud United Kingdom combat soldier, special forces there, now retired out of that. And now he's a fighter in a different way. And that's to bring information to you and I about what's happening in our societies. Go ahead. Let's play that.
Okay.
And I agree with you. You know, in the UK, we have the Magna Carta, the Libertatum. That's what it was all about. Freedom, this notion of freedom, sovereignty. You know, the king does not have a right to interfere. You know, every Englishman's home is his castle. Stay out of our lives, stay out of our business. You know, we don't just serve you as subjects, you also serve us, the people, as well, right? So it's this kind of constant battle between power and authority. And you know, you guys are the last bastion for freedom. If you fall,
hallelujah,
it is over. It is, and this is what I spend so much time trying to evangelize in America, right? And saying, listen, this is what's happening. You guys remind me, you know, think of the modern West as paralleling, you know, the Roman Empire, right? Or Roman civilization, because we can see the same cyclical process playing out that we could see back then. You know, Greece.
Right. Think about that, folks. You are the last bastion of freedom and hope in the world. The last. Now, folks, he's not kidding. He is a scholar of looking at the history of the world and what rose and what has fallen. And there's a very interesting map, and I'm going to show it to you. We're going to pull it up, not today, but as we continue this education on the United States of America and why it has to be the most powerful country in the world, have the most powerful military in the world, and be united with pro-Christian countries. And then those countries that may not be all Christian, but do understand, just like our founders did, folks, that not every founder was a Christian, but they understood that the rules that Christians go by, that creed, okay, the ability to have a higher power, to respect a higher power outside of mankind. Why we're a nation of laws, not men, or not mankind, however you want to put it. Rules. Whose rules? Rules from God. The commandments. Everything that we have in our judicial system derives from a higher power. That is why you're innocent until proven guilty. You just cannot be accused and thrown into the gulag because the government doesn't think that you should be out because you are a threat to them. That you see all over the world now. And you see it where do you see it? Let's see. You see it in China. You see it in Russia. You see it in Iran. You see it in countries that are our mortal enemies. And they are the BRICS, part of the BRICS nations. You might as well call those nations the future Axis powers, folks. And what's sad is there's countries being sucked into it because of where their position is on the globe. And they're getting sucked into it. Like India, for example, is being sucked into it because they think America is weak. For the same reason that the Italians said, oh, I'm with the Germans. I'm with the Nazis this week because I think the Allied forces are not going to be doing too well right now. So, and then they switch back, and then they got to be liberated, and back and forth, right? So, look, a weak America, folks, just like Dan Hood said, is a weak United Kingdom, which is a weak world. Demonic forces are at work. Demonic forces are at work. And communism, I had people, push back on me a little bit on social media. So intimidating. These keyboard warriors, coming after me saying, hey, you know what? Russia is really not a communist nation. Oh, really? Then what are they then? So tell me how they've reimagined themselves, because folks, that's the word today. We're reimagining ourselves. The automobile industry is reimagining themselves. Nations are reimagining themselves. Well, guess what? Reimagine this. that the United States of America is going nowhere. The United States of America is the republic that must stand. Okay. And there's a lot going on today, and we're going to jump right into that because it doesn't help, folks, that we have a leader that is confused. Okay. Joe Biden is a confused individual. And I've said on this show that he's calculatingly confused as well, though. I go back and forth on who is Joe Biden, who is his family, and why is he in a position of power? How did he get there? Why is his son had so much power in selling out? I don't care. Well, I think it was, what was it, Eric? Was it the Clinton administration that we're supposed to be upset that the Lincoln bedroom was rented out? Wasn't it something like that? Am I remembering that right?
It might have been Obama, but I'm not quite sure. It's been a while.
It's been a while, folks, but we're supposed to be so upset that the Lincoln bedroom was allowed to be kind of lent out for some type of bribery. Is it bad? Of course it's bad. But how bad is it what we're dealing with today? When you look at everything that's happening in the Biden administration to weaken the resolve of the American society. And now he looks to be confused. And let's talk about a little bit about that, Eric. Let's talk about the confusion of Biden. What do we have?
Well, Joe is continues to skip meetings with our allies. There's an article here from Daily Wire where Joe this time avoided a dining with the world leaders again. He needed to go take a nap.
Yes.
So Joe's physically not able to stay up past, I don't know what, 5 o'clock. But the leaders you were just talking about, the leaders know that Joe is weak.
Yes.
You think about it. You organize the dinner. You've got everybody ready to go. The president of the United States is supposed to lead the dinner, and they're looking around the room going, where's Biden? He went to sleep.
Yes. It's a weak presentation of the leadership of the United States of America. And again, I'll go back to the interview yesterday with Dan Hood. Go back and watch it. And it talks about how the Biden administration has got to be replaced sooner than later. And so the fatigue that he has, look, at some level, this is elder abuse. There's no doubt about that. And I know a lot of people talk about it. But what's interesting now, I expect the Fox Newses and the Newsmax and the One American News and all of these, anything that you would think is right or conservative or faking right, which would be Fox News, they are going to think that way. But now we have a tremendous amount of mainstream media now showcasing it, because my opinion is Biden has to go. Biden is not electable in 2024, period. It's not going to happen. So they have one or two choices. They can prop him up like the Republicans did to a Bob Dole and have an absolute no chance and just know that they're going to concede this next election. There's that point, but I don't think they can do that. I think you're going to see a tremendous amount of radical things done over the next year to make sure that as we approach November of next year of 24, the election, that things are going to be way different than you see now. Okay, and it's sad, but it's true. And a weak America is a weak world. And it's a strong world for the enemy. That all it does is empower them. So what else we got, Eric?
Well, in this article, it's pretty encompassing. It's Biden continues to make statements that are untrue because Joe lies. I mean, he lies when he doesn't even know he's lying. This week he claimed that, you remember Ukraine? We spoke about the cluster bombs that were being sent over to Ukraine.
Yep.
He claimed the reason why was that the U.S. is running low on 155 millimeter artillery shells.
Yeah.
But the White House immediately said, well, that's not true. We got plenty in reserves.
Oops, just kidding. Sorry, it's a national security issue.
I'm only the president.
I mean, ladies and gentlemen, he's on. I wish you could pull. Do you have that anywhere that you could pull up where people you may have not seen it, where your president is on national television telling anyone who's watching, thank goodness it's on one of those stations that hardly anybody watches, by the way. But what happens is it gets captured on social media and it gets pushed out there and it gets put all over the world. And then here he is basically saying, hey, our military front lines are pretty weak. So, cluster bombs have to happen because we're out of shells. We're out of ammunition.
Well, Joe trying not to fall down. Here is in the same article. This was back when he was speaking to the cadets. Here's Joe's one of his falls.
That right there. I mean, who put the sandbag there? Wasn't that the issue? Look, here's the thing.
Where's the sandbag at? I don't see that.
I know. And that video is.
Well, here's the first time. Here's the this one goes down in history.
Stairs,
falling, going up.
He tripped.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Well, again, I said
no.
I've said it, and it's true. This is elder abuse. All right. But I don't feel sorry for him. When I say that, I don't feel sorry for him. He has done horrific things to this country in his decades of service to this country. So I don't feel sorry for him. Please know that.
What about when Joe rides a bike?
Get your foot out. Take your foot out. Yeah, I mean it's.
And I think, and the reason why I brought this up, Craig, is because the other story shows that I believe, I want to get your thoughts on it, that Joe's not actually making the decisions. He's just bumbling around, falling down, falling asleep, because his administration, according to Daily Wire, they're opposing merit-based promotions in the military. They want the military to only promote, or primarily to promote over race and gender.
Right.
That's why they tolerate a bumbling, deceptive, sharing confidential information, falling off bicycle senior citizen. And it is abuse, but it's for the deep states, the purposes, I think. What do you think?
Well, I think that years ago, if you look at the stuff that he spoke about, he was absolutely a racist and a bigot.
Yep.
And it was never showcased right. He was always shown to be a liar, but not enough people knew about it. And he's done very demonic things in his career as a politician, and we're finding out more and more and more. Now, as his mental state declines, okay, they know that they can prop him up. You got to understand all the medicines that are out there, folks. They could crank him up, and then get him in front, and he'll do pretty okay. But then it's a big fall. So cranking him up on whatever drugs they have him on, then boom, he collapses after that. So they prop him up, and he reads a teleprompter. He doesn't have the cognitive reasoning or the deductive reasoning that he's had in the past. So he's just saying, yeah, I'll go along with that. And he reads the teleprompter, and that's why he has the notes, and that's just, he's just a parrot, okay, of the deep state, a parrot of what the CCP wants to do because of the connection with his son Biden. And that's the danger that we have in our country. We have a leader now, because remember, the president's the leader of the people. He's a representative of the people. That's why he's above the military, right? So now go on, explain to folks a little bit about what you're talking about. And I know this probably pains you as a Marine to read something like this, but so give the people, take 30 seconds to give them the gist of what it is, and then I'll give you my thoughts.
Well, it's Biden's, it's always his administration, because Joe doesn't know. But they're fighting back against a new provision, and the House of Representatives are controlled by a small majority of Republicans. And so in the annual defense spending bill, they inserted some language requiring the military to only promote. They actually had to tell the military to do this, which is mind-boggling. You're only going to promote based solely on merit. When I was in the Marines, unless you were under contract, you had to earn your stripes. You couldn't just get promoted because of a preference by the command. Well, the White House is saying, in this National Defense Appropriation Act, we're going to fight against this diversity, equity, and inclusion prohibition by the Republicans, and we're going to want to make sure that when the military goes to promote, they're not looking at the toughest fighter, the best warrior, the one with the best planning for battle strategies. We want to make sure that the command can also consider and hit race and gender goals when figure out who's going to determine if we should attack, how to attack, and what to attack with.
Right. Okay. So it's all connected to this toxic masculinity, which is what you want in a Marine, by the way. You want a masculinity that is way up here, because the job of a Marine is not to be the nice guy or gal in the room. It's to be the executioner of our enemies, to learn how to kill, to learn how to defend our liberty. And when you look at things like this that we're showing today, you know automatically, folks, it's not the best thing for this country. You know that it is designed to deplete the morale of our military, because I suspect, and I'm just going to, and Eric has no idea I'm going to ask him this, but I've been around enough Marines and enough armed forces people over the years dealing with the combat issues when they come back for a very long time, to help assimilate them into society, and also help society allow them to assimilate in a way that makes sense. Okay, not this forced assimilation. But let me ask you this, Eric, because you are a Marine, once a Marine, always a Marine. I suspect that when you were in there, you didn't care that the guy was black that was on your 6, did you? And the guy that was black, if you were on his 6, did he care? Or did it go deeper? Did you have a deeper relationship that didn't have to do with race, that you guys guarded each other's 6, and because that's really what matters, and there wasn't a bunch of racism flowing around the military?
Yeah, the Marine Corps especially was about the unit, and the individual Marine was a Marine. So the goal was to collectively kick butt, and you weren't looking around going, that person's 5'8", that person's 6'4", so I'm going to choose them, or that person's black, that one's... You basically were thinking, we as a unit need to win, and that is all we cared about.
Yeah, win, adapt, overcome.
Right.
Doing what it takes to survive. Now, you look at what you just posted and we just talked about, that is the opposite. It's about allowing things to seep in. And folks, you may not even know about this, but the military a number of years ago had these cards that people could, I think they were called stress cards, that they could put up in boot camp. Stress level, I can't, I got to quit right now. I need a break. Okay? I can't do all the sit-ups and the push-ups right now. I'm feeling a little cramped. Okay. And I know that that's true because I used to talk to people back in the day that was happening. All this stuff seeps in, folks, while you don't know it. Thank God we can put stuff up like this and talk about it. But if you're not watching this show and you're just on your phone or just doing standard mainstream media, you're not going to see, that Biden administration opposes merit-based military promotions, wants provisions for race and gender. You're not going to see that. And then some of you, when you see it, you don't connect the dot. Okay. Why is it so bad? It's bad because the people that are in the military that have been to combat, for example, and they see this schmuck that shouldn't even possibly even be in the military, that's went through because of affirmative action type things, and they're there, whether they're a boy, girl, black, white, whatever it is, because it came from a poor neighborhood. These people need to be propped up, because that's the gist of it, right? Oh, these people, these people's lives have been so greatly affected by outside forces that they could not help. Now that they're in the military, we can help them as the federal government. You are not your officers training academy. We're going to allow you to become an officer much easier and quicker because of the things that you've had to deal with in your life. Well, make no mistake, the other soldiers that are in the military take that personal. Fair statement, Eric?
It does, and in the article, it actually clarifies. It further lays out that the blocking of DEI policies is what the Biden wants to roll back and put back in place. But I can tell you this real quick. When I was in, we would have second lieutenants come out of officer school. They were the neophytes. A girl that got a degree in Germany, in German, was supposed to be my air traffic control supervisor day one, even though she'd never talked to an airplane. And we had no respect for her. until she earned and could do the job. Well, if you put people in the military over you, a guy in a dress or someone who's only in the position because they're color, but they can't lead, it causes morale to drop significantly and quickly and would be devastating in war.
Right. And it's also, if it's your doctor, if it's your attorney, if it's anyone that is in a position that has great responsibility, it doesn't matter as much as if it's a person who's landscaping and cutting your hedges. Okay. Not nearly as much. Your hedge might be off a little bit, it may not be symmetrical. Your yard may not be as detailed as possible as it should be, but no great effect on the overall society. When it seeps into these high level positions and these high level of responsibility, even a private in the military, when they're on the front line, they have a tremendous amount of pressure and responsibility, and they must perform. And they can't be thinking in the back of their head that that person who's on my six really isn't that good and they've promoted him, or God forbid, that lieutenant that's telling these people that they got to go take that hill, if you will. They know that that person got there in this equity position. That's really going to drive down the confidence in the military.
Exactly. And as we when we were going to Desert Storm, we were all, us guys who had never been in combat, were the air wing. We were all kind of the same mindset. We're kind of scared, but we don't know what we're doing. So we all followed because that's what you were trained to do. But if we would have had people trying to lead us that were incompetent, that would have been tough to try to have your confidence going into what you didn't know what you were going to be seeing over there. So it's a bad idea.
That's right. Okay, folks, when we come back from break, you know what we're going to talk about? Californians. Any of you watching this show understand that your government wants you to drink your toilet water and your neighbors? I'm not making this stuff up. When we come back, we're going to talk about just how crazy this world is becoming, and specifically the state of California.
Wow, it's so soft and smooth.
It's cool to the touch. How did you do that?
Well, we took MyPillow's patented fill and combined it with this new technology that we didn't have back then when I invented MyPillow to bring you the best pillow in history, MyPillow 2.0. Because of all of you, MyPillow 2.0 has been a huge success, and now we're bringing you our best-selling Go Anywhere MyPillows with the same temperature-regulating technology. Made with my patented adjustable fill and brand-new cooling fabric, they're truly the next generation of MyPillow. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save over 60% on our MyPillow 2.0 4-pack special. You'll get 2 MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows, regular $259.92, now only $99.98. King size just $10 more. This is a limited time offer, so please order now.
Welcome back, folks. You thirsty? Oh, yeah. Hey, please know this. When you watch the show, and we're going to change this. I'm going to put another monitor in front of me, because when I turn here and people are on and we're interviewing them, it's because I'm actually watching them on the screen, all right? And I like to do that because I like to see their facial expressions and things that they're doing, especially if I'm interviewing them. And every once in a while I'll pop back and I'll look right at you folks. But then if I'm looking over here, that's because that's where my monitor is. And I have another monitor right here in front of me, which is actually my phone. So please know that's why I'm doing it. So here's the good news, folks. In the state of Tennessee, you don't have to drink your toilet water, at least yet. But what are we talking about here? Eric, California's, I know they've talked about this actually for years, the drought that they're in, self-imposed drought, by the way, folks. Please know, there's plenty of water in the world. There's plenty of rain in the world. Just when it rains and too much rain falls, they don't capture it because they don't have big enough dams for the amount of people that they have in their area, and the water goes right back out into the ocean. Yeah. So what are we talking about? California drinking toilet water. Tell the folks, Eric.
Well, it's the California State Water Resource Control Board. Yeah, California loves to control the water. Matter of fact, most of the water from the rains goes straight out to the ocean to save the little minnows from being caught in the grids. But basically, in a statement, they're saying the board announced a proposed regulations that would allow for water systems to add wastewater that has been treated to levels, of course, that are meeting and exceeding all drinking standards to their potable supplies.
Yes.
And the process is known as direct potable reuse. This enables systems to generate a climate resilient water source while reducing the amount of wastewater they release into the rivers and oceans.
When was this article done? I can't see it.
This is day yesterday, should be today.
Okay. All right.
It's on by Joel Pollack, Breitbart, July 12th, 2023.
Okay. So you already, folks, I will bet that most of you don't even drink your tap water right now. You don't. You have some type of filtration system. You buy bottled water. You do not. You have a Brita, whatever these things are, a little pitcher in your refrigerator, and you're already not drinking your tap water right out of your tap. And most of your tap water just doesn't taste good. And quite frankly, it's probably where many of the cancers are coming from. Is these old plumbing systems. And we saw what happened in that one town, I can't forget, Virginia or West Virginia, can't remember that the name of that, but they switched it through the water through other pipes. Then people are dying from cancers and all that because your water already sucks. It does. And then they'll argue it does not suck. It's good water. We test it all the time. It's great water, but it smells bad. I smell like a lot of chlorine. It just doesn't smell good. Now, that's without taking your, what's called your gray water and your black water. That goes through a filtration system, folks. Just like the other water went through a filtration system that you don't drink already. And now it's going to be even better, folks. In the state of California, it says, look, it's going to be it's like a glass of wine with your blended up crickets and locusts, because that's where they want to go, right? You need to start eating crickets and locusts. You got to have a little less of the steak and hamburgers and the chickens. Hence why you see all those places burning down. By the way, that's another subject that we're going to talk about, the attack on our food system. But it's all connected. So now here you are in the state of California. They want you to drink your toilet water. And you're just going to have to be okay about it. And unfortunately, the people that would normally push back on this, they're moving out in droves. They're ending up where? In the state of Florida, the state of Arizona,
Tennessee,
Colorado, Oklahoma,
Tennessee.
Texas. What's that, Eric?
Tennessee.
Oh, God. Oh, absolutely. So you look at this stuff and you think, well, how does this happen? It happens when you have an out-of-control government dictating stupid things to you because they've convinced you that you're out of something that you're not. It's like oil and gas, it's about coal. It's all connected to the manipulation, the lie about where you sit and what you can tap into the ground to get, what you can capture from the sky, in this case, rain, okay? And because they don't capture enough of it when it does fall, then you're just going to have a drought that's consistent. It's a consistent drought system, all right? They redirect water to stupid things like growing rice in Texas. Why we need to grow rice in Texas, I have no idea. I know that's been a huge problem in the past there, and that's bad policy. If I'm going to look at the Chinese to do anything, look, I'm okay with this. If the Chinese want to be the rice producers of the world, I'm in. Keep my potable water clean, and I want it to come from the sky, from the heavens, okay? I don't want it coming out of my toilet. And now, if you want to use that to like go out and water fields, you know, for instance, if you want to use reclaimed water like they have for years to grow grass in large areas, I think I'm okay with that. But if you've ever smelt it, folks, they do a lot of that in Florida. It's disgusting. The sulfur smell and all that, dude, it's disgusting. It's very, very, very bad. You won't even go out in your own yard when that stuff is spraying around. You don't even want to inhale it. Sorry, you got me going on that, Eric, because it's ridiculous that we are devolving as a country because we have these pathetic leaders convincing people that they're much worse off than they really are. If we actually start doing the things we can do, use the technologies we really have, really be proactive and build dams to hold the water that really does fall from the sky, we would be a first world country. We're soon devolving into a second world. Okay.
Yeah, the city you were talking about was up in Flint, Michigan, several years ago when back in 2014, the city realized
that's right, Flint, Michigan,
that the majority of the black city, where 40% people live in poverty, had been complaining about dangerous drinking water for a long time, and Obama even made light of it, and I think governor drank some of the water and said, "What's the problem? What's the problem up here? So what?" Or I might have been Obama took a little sip. Well, you guys are just whiners.
So good.
You're
so
just
good.
whiners.
Look, folks, if I was trying to convince you to drink cat urine, okay, which is safer, by the way, than the stuff that was flowing through the pipes in Flint, Michigan, and all I did was take a little tiny sip, see, it's all good. I could stomach that. Okay. But if I had to live like you, if I was your dictator that had to live like you and drink it all the time, well, of course, it would never happen. But they don't have to because they're building their utopian world for them. You saw it in COVID, where you saw these dictators going out to dinner when you couldn't. They were going to get their hair done while you couldn't. They could go to work out while you couldn't. So it's all connected, folks. Oh,
here it is.
Flint, Michigan. Oh, I want to hear this.
Okay, so here is a president of the United States who supposedly was running for equity and as the quote unquote first black president, and he's being at a press conference about the water that people were concerned were killing their youth up in the poor black community in Flint, Michigan, and this is what the New World Order globalist president of the United States, like we currently have, told the people in Flint, Michigan about the water.
Perfect.
It is. There you go. You know, generally I have not been doing stunts here, but, you know. And this used a filter. You know, the water around this table, was Flint water that was filtered. And it just confirms what we know scientifically, which is that if you're using a filter, if you're installing it, then Flint water at this point is drinkable. That does not, I want to repeat, negate the need for us to go ahead and replace some of these pipes, because ultimately you want a system in which you don't have to put a filter on it in order to be assured that it's safe.
Don't you feel fuzzy about that if you were a Flint, Michigan?
It's exactly what I just said, and I'm glad you played that, Eric, because you see that little sip? The sip couldn't have been any smaller.
Right.
I don't think the sip could have been smaller than the sip he took. As a matter of fact, it's quite possible that sip was so small it evaporated on the tongue and never went down the gullet. Okay?
Yep.
And that's how these people work, folks. I don't typically do props and staging, because typically I am a prop, by the way, folks. Look, folks, these presidents today are props. They are the prop. I'm glad he said prop. I hope he said prop, because that's what I heard.
Yep.
They are props. That's what they are. They're propagandists. They're props. They're fake. What did Shakespeare say? I believe all the world is a stage and we're all just mere actors. Okay. 100% fact. These politicians have been groomed. Okay. I call this the O'Biden administration that we're in right now. This is the O'Biden administration. This is a weaponized government, folks, that's using Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals, which is the playbook, absolute playbook. that people like the great Reverend Wright talk about as he's in black communities condoning abortions to help blacks become better in their society by killing their future, which is where many great leaders can come from, but execute them. And I don't mean to go off on a trail here, but the fact is, folks, they're all connected. And we've got to take these little trails, go off and go, what are they building over there? And what are they saying? What are they doing? Because it's going to connect right back on to the superhighway of the United States of America that has many, many potholes. Okay. Do you feel the potholes, folks, because of these leaders? Okay. You the amount of money you spend and the trillions of dollars in taxes, metaphorically speaking, your street should be paved in gold. Instead, you've got potholes everywhere. Okay. And that is because the people who are in charge to defend this country and to keep this country rolling have been sold out for a very, very long time. Okay. And that's why Ronald Reagan, not to go back too far, remember yesterday it was Ronald Reagan. We talked about 1985, thanking Donald Trump. Eric, do me a favor. See if you can pull up. If we can't do it this show, let's do it the next. I want to play some of Ronald Reagan's warnings back when he was stumping for Barry Goldwater, back when he was running for governor in California, and then when he was running for the president of the United States. Because Ronald Reagan warned us about what's going on. Okay, so when Obama goes in and takes a little sip of his water, oh, hold on a second. Yep, it's so good, folks. Not to tell you that the stuff in the pipes is going to kill you, because it is. If we don't filter it, it's perfectly fine now that it's filtered, so don't worry about it. But we're going to replace some of those pipes, okay? And you notice how it's all fallen off the radar, too, folks? We need to do an update on Flint, Michigan. I don't even know. It's fall off my radar. So anyway, when we come back from break, folks, we're going to, well, how much time we got after? Yeah, we did take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue the conversation, and I'm going to connect the dot for you about the automobile industry. The automotive segment, What's in the Garage, I used to call it years ago. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a guy named Scott Painter that wants to change the future of automobile mobility in the United States of America, and it directly affects you. And we'll be back.
Love made it right. Suddenly I see the light. Now when I'm walking home
Folks, what I'm doing right now, I'm pulling up something that I want you to know about. And unless you are a member of this automotive news, folks, which I have been for quite some time, there's things that you may not be aware of that are happening to one of the largest job creators in the United States of America, which is the automobile industry. It is one of the biggest, at least 5% of every job in this country is connected to the automobile industry and shrinking. Okay. And not being replaced, by the way, just so you know. They're all becoming Uber drivers, or they're sitting on the government dole. That's why your taxes need to go up and they need to necessarily rise, because there's people with the all-seeing eye, as I like to call it, with the UN's 2030 agenda, World Economic Forum, BlackRock, these huge automotive conglomerations that are going to sell you out, folks. They're going to sell you out so they can make tremendous amounts of money. And so there's something I want to put up here, and I think I'm going to try to remember how to do this. Here we go again. Craig will be pretending he's producer for a minute. I'm going to go in, see if I can find it here. I may not be able to. Let's see here. That's not it. So what I'm going to show you, hopefully, is an article that shows that, here, I'll pull it up on shows that The automobile industry, Tesla's price cuts almost put Scott Painter out of business. See if you can pull that up, the headline. Tesla's price cuts almost put Scott Painter out of business. That's the headline. I want you to be able to pull that up because all I need is the headline to show the folks, because I want to explain to you what I'm talking about. So a year ago, a serial entrepreneur who tried again and again to disrupt the auto retailing announced he was taking another swing. Scott Painter, the founder of auto fintech startup Fair, auto pricing service TrueCar, big failure. TrueCar, if you tried it, folks, you probably figured out it doesn't work too good. The one thing they did want with TrueCar, just so you know, is data. They have a tremendous amount of data. So I'll give you an example. I'm going to kind of connect the dots here for you. So TrueCar is connected. Like if you go to Costco, Sam's Club, your like State Farm auto insurance, and they say that they're going to help you save money on your car, what you're really going to is a skin where they private label State Farm, like they're helping you get a car, but it's actually TrueCar that's actually fueling the whole thing. And they have your data. So these big companies have handed over your data to organizations like TrueCar so they can sift through and start marketing and advertising and figure out ways to extract more money from you, give you these false discounts. TrueCar was a fraud, not real. Those are discounts that you could typically always get. And there's a whole backstory to why TrueCar failed, didn't have the best interest of the dealer, and then also was telling you mixed truths as you as a consumer. So TrueCar, kind of a failure. Yep. Auto shopping
Here's
portal.
automotive news, by the way. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
yeah,
this is you're talking about here?
That's it right there. That's it right there. So keep that up. TrueCar, auto shopping portal Cars Direct, you've probably heard of that, said his latest venture, folks, would shell out $1.2 billion. Check this out here. Ordering electric vehicles from likes of Tesla, General Motors, Volkswagen Group, the company's called. Remember this? We discovered this before, and then we talked about it. Autonomy. Autonomy Inc. would offer subscriptions to models, including the Tesla Model 3, the Chevrolet Volt, excuse me, and offering consumers an option between a short-term rental and a multi-year lease or loan. But there's only one problem, folks. Months into it, Painter trying to get autonomy off the ground, Elon Musk started slashing the prices of Tesla EVs. Painter said that Tesla founder Musk is his friend. And instead of having an $85 million fleet, he now had a $56 million fleet. And he said that's a big problem, but it doesn't end there, folks. It's a big problem for him. See, if the prices go down, it's a problem for him, but it's good news for you, right? So these people, they want to make sure that the system's set up that you have to do things their way. So let's move on. And it says the combination of Musk's price cuts and Tesla's accumulation of more inventory than it's ever had before, meaning it's easier than ever to quickly get a Tesla. Bad news, folks. You see how the good news is bad news? So if you like electric vehicles and you like Tesla, it's easier now to get a Tesla than ever, and he hates it. Bad news, folks. This has got to stop. You cannot have better access to something you want at a lower price. He said, we were very vulnerable to our lenders in that moment, Painter said, because they've lost a lot of money. Autonomy ultimately went through a forbearance process while he worked to recapitalize the company with a new $12 million round of funding, also had to pare back operating costs, which included shrinking Autonomy staff to just 45 people to 120. And see, you're seeing these, as these business models don't work, by the way, folks, we'll go over and draw that line over to Ford. Ford's laid off thousands of people and lay off thousands of more because it's trying to do a boondoggle called electric vehicles that you don't even want and that our grid can't even handle. But this crooked world that we're in, and the UN and the 2030 Agenda and the World Economic Forum and the World Health Organization and BlackRock and Vanguard and your own federal government and the European Union and all these people do not have your best interest. These are boondoggles. So what are they doing? You folks are going to pay by you're not going to have jobs. So if you worked for Ford and they're like, golf clap, yeah. Electric vehicles, folks, golf clap, yeah. Just to let you know that in about 18 months, half this room is going to be fired, just so you know, because it's really not a great business model, and it's going to affect your jobs, and we're going to have to let you go. So, of course, they didn't say that. It's the greatest thing in the world, folks. Electric vehicles, you're going to love it. Not so great, is it? Lots of Lordstown out of business. Others are going to go as well. So, go back to the article here. Suffice to say, this brush with depreciation risk has left autonomy well short of the goal Painter announced in August last year to order 23,000 EVs from 17 different automakers at around 1,300 cars. It's at around, now it's at 1,300. And the CEO believes that the service will require about 3,000 to break even. All right. So if I skip forward, this is a very important thing for you to understand. And I hope I'm not losing you. Your automobile industry in this country, the one that you and I are used to seeing, you go to a car lot, you see cars there. At certain times of the year, they'll have an incentive because they overbuilt, because they had the kowtow to the unions, and they'd have thousands of trucks sitting in podunk little town somewhere that, with 300 people, and there's 5,000 pickup trucks there. Well, guess what? Well, they're not selling them in that little town. It's because they had to have a place to store them because of this big defunct system. Now, so does it mean that things had to change? Yes, it did. But the way they're changing it, okay, is really the destruction of the franchise in this country and the destruction of your liberty, the destruction of you being able to go down, buy a car, own a car, drive it where you want to, and not have to tell somebody when you are going to drive the car. You don't have to sign into an app to start the car. You don't have a GPS tracking system showing everywhere you're going in the car. And you want to be able to take your car where you want. So as we move to this full autonomous, and we move to all electric, and we move to these other the very egregious and really weaponizing, okay, it's weaponizing mobility against you folks. People like Mr. Painter, not your friend, just so you know, says as interest rates go up, it makes the car loan less and less an option. He said anybody who makes greater than $100,000 a year is going to be okay. You're going to be fine, folks. But anybody who is at that 100,000 or lower mark is just simply not going to have access to an EV. So, of course, companies like Autonomy may not be out of the woods yet with respect to their vehicle losing value. While EV sales continue to grow, the pace has slowed. And Tesla isn't the only one with inventory issues. Cox Automotive, by the way, folks, is huge, okay? They're a big finger on the pulse of the automobile industry. Cox Automotive estimates there was a 103-day supply of new EVs available at the end of June compared to 53 days overall for the overall industry, meaning 53 days if you take what we call ICE vehicles, internal combustion engine vehicles, what you're used to driving forever. There's already a 50-plus day supply of them. Now there's going to be double that of the electric vehicle. And that tells you what? A, people don't want the vehicle. B, they can't afford the vehicle. C, the good news is for all of you people, which is the super majority of Americans who make less than $100,000 a year, folks, the median income. Google real quick, Eric, what's the median income or the average income, which are two different things, folks, just so you know, of the American citizen in this country or household? How much do they make? Let's find that out really quick. So $100,000 is kind of the baseline, right? So the super majority, I suspect, is going to be the super majority of Americans aren't going to be able to get an electric vehicle. But the good,
if you look at, they have it broken down by states, but they're saying here, let's see, income $71,186 is national average.
National, is that household?
Household, 71.
That's household, folks.
70,000.
That means everybody in your household. That's how much money there is. So that's at least two people working cannot afford an electric vehicle.
But in Tennessee, it's only 62,000. Georgia, 61,000. Oklahoma, 60,000. South Carolina, 62. On and on. So California, New York, and Illinois skew that number. So the average person's really around 62,000 a year.
That's right. And again, folks, that is household income. That's not individual income. Find out that number if you can, Eric. What's the individual income, not a household? It's going to be a lot less than that. So where are they going? They're going that only the wealthy people are going to be fine, okay? If you're making 100,000 or more, and again, that's not wealthy in the state of California, just so you know, at all. That's just getting by, maybe. And that's if you have no kids, by the way. And so here we are. They are going to rescue you because you could take your phone and download this app. And look, it's only a subscription, folks. You can cancel anytime. Anytime you don't need to go to work, anytime you don't need to go to the store, anytime you don't need to go to the doctor, anytime you don't need to go on vacation, you don't need it. You see? It's not that bad. It isn't that bad. As long as you want to stay home or walk everywhere or maybe take your bike, why would you care about what's happening in the automobile industry, folks?
By the way, it's the median income per average is $44,225
$44,000 a year
to buy a $100,000 car or whatever.
Okay, to buy even a you make $44,000 a year. You can't buy a $40,000 car.
Right.
All right. So the fact is, folks, can you see? Are we painting the picture of what's happening? And it's a global initiative. A global initiative. And you know what? There's a lot of, you look up there, there's a lot of countries that are in really, really bad shape. You see what's going on in France. You see what's going on in UK is falling right behind them. And these nations are getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And they don't have access to the things that we have, the natural resources, the water, obviously the military, the geographical area. Look at the map. Look at it. Look where we're at and look where they're at. Okay? You have to understand that the United States of America has to fall, and people like Painter are helping it happen. The AutoNation groups are helping make it happen. The Stellantis groups are helping make it happen. They're destroying, their goal is to destroy your ability to buy a vehicle the traditional way. You walk into a car dealership and you say, I want to look at some cars. Okay? I'll take that one, or I'll take that one. And instead today it's like, no, you won't. And we don't have any cars. And the ones that we do have, that's all that's available. You can order some if you want. Oh, no, there's no discount. They're more expensive now than they ever were. And the reason they're more expensive than they ever were, and we have huge price increases, is because the money that we're going to make, because you're going to have no choice but to pay it, unless you just want to stay in one of your old jalopies that's being outlawed. Good luck with that. You're going to pay more money because we're going to take that extra profit that we're stealing from you, because they're forcing you in a direction. We're going to subsidize your money to pay for these boondoggles, folks. Isn't it great news? The tens of trillions of dollars it's going to take to just do the grid alone in the U.S. to take on electrification and all these other things. You know, that our houses, no more gas, anything. It's all going to be electric. The amount of power that it's going to need, and the trillions of dollars we're going to have to spend, they're going to subsidize it, folks, by taking it out of your pockets everywhere you go through taxation and the rise of the MSRP, okay, in collusion with the government to take your rights away. It's just that simple. Have I explained that? Now, Eric, you know you are the representation of the people sometimes listening to me. I want to make sure that I'm explaining it where people understand why this is so dangerous. Is there anything you need to ask me to clarify anything?
Well, we were talking about it before the show. To me, it is like your California 2035. You can't buy an electric car, a gas powered car starting at 2035. Well, if only people over 100,000 and above can afford an electric car, what happens to the people under that income who can't buy a car? Your car breaks down, and the state says you have to destroy it because it's not electric. What would happen to the average person, do you think, if they couldn't go to work because they couldn't get a car?
Well, here's the good news. You're going to be able to go to work when they want you to go to work, and you're going to use the app. Just like I said, that's what they want you to do. Now, if they can't go to work, well, here's what's going to happen. It's going to create pandemonium. It's going to create a greater divide. Well, just like Painter says, you know, that the wealthy people are going to be fine. The super majority of you are not. Let's just say it gets 25% better. That's a huge jump, by the way. It gets 25% better, the cost. I should say the amount of money you need to make gets reduced down to $75,000. That still isn't the median of an entire household income, and it's almost double of the individual income. So it still doesn't get better. So it's going to create pandemonium. It's going to create a black market of automobile parts and keeping these old vehicles on the road. Go to places like Venezuela, and I can't remember the other nations that are still, they have the 1950s and 60s
Cuba.
and 70s vehicles. What's that?
Yeah, Cuba,
Cuba.
They're driving like 1950s cars.
That's right. Why do they do that? Because they can't afford to do it any other way. When they get electric, we'll be in flying cars like the Jetsons, okay? If we just kind of do the model of how things go up, right? So the bottom line is, folks, as we keep devolving as a country with when it comes to your liberty and your wealth, that money is going up. Remember what we've talked about? Okay, this is where the world was before this country was created by our founders and through the grace of God. And then they turned it to this, where the power is at the top, is the people. It used to be the power at the top was the all-seeing eye, or it is the government agencies. It's a dictator. That's what you don't want to have, folks. And today, hopefully, we covered that in a way that it made sense to you. And always know, if you have questions, you have feedback, go to contact@craigbouchonshow.com. Contact@craigbouchonshow.com. Soon we'll have a link on the website as well. You can just click on it and just go right in and contact us there. And it'll get right to us. Okay, so we got a minute or two left, maybe, if that. No, we're over, but I don't care. We're going to read from, guess where? We got to come up with some music for this. Letters to Trump. So, Letters to Trump, of course, this is a book that was put out, and we've been reading one every day. We did skip a day or two, and then we're making up for it now. So today, it's going to be Bob Hope. So Bob Hope, oh, look at that. That's the part of the Rat Pack right there. And you got John Wayne. I'll show you that picture. That's pretty cool. So January 9th, 1987 to Mr. Donald Trump of the Trump Organization, from Bob Hope, Mr. USO. Dear Donald, sorry we didn't get to see your new pad down in Palm Beach in January. But we're going to be there on February 21st, and Dolores and I would love to take a peek at it. We're going to be staying with Bunny DuPont, a dear friend we always stay with, but we'd love to go over there and see this $12 million home that you claim is only worth $7 million. And anyway, if you're not going to be there, just forget it this time, and maybe we can come visit sometime when you are there. So there you go. It's Bob Hope. Now, this is a good one. This got John Wayne. I mean, that's when America, had... you got Frank Sinatra. Oh my gosh, you have it's just a beautiful time, not a perfect time, but a beautiful time, and that's why we're reading it to you. If you don't own it, because it's like $100 book, $100. You don't have to. We're gonna read it to you right here. There it is, another one of the books, folks. Thank you, Eric, for being the producer extraordinaire. Lots more to cover this week. We will see you tomorrow. God bless.